Brian, stop the tape.
Okay, Mike. Oh, wait. Rewind that scene, please.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene. Rewind it.
Rewind that scene. Rewind that scene.
I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Brian Bonds.
And together we are Bobo
Touch.
Rewind that scene. How are you guys? Welcome back to another great episode.
We're rocking, we're rolling. You know how we do in this
Yeah.
current day and age, and it's always good to chat and connect.
Exactly.
Today we're talking about a special movie, right?
It's called The Last Dragon, baby.
Very
1985.
Yes.
Starring Taimak, Vanity, Christopher Murney. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
Julius Carey, Show Nuff.
Mike Starr.
This is an all-star cast with some
Rest
beautiful
in peace.
music. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of great people in this movie that aren't with us anymore.
That's true. A lot of them passed on, unfortunately. But what's crazy is that me and Brian grew up with watching this because of obviously the martial arts, the tremendous impact it had with the whole Bruce Lee connection for us.
All the kung fu and
all the
stuff.
kung fu, the characters right in attention and the battle. You know, and what's interesting is it kind of starts off right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
with knowing that he is the last dragon and he has to get his glow, right?
Yes, exactly. And he has to find that spark, and like it's sick with the music, like.
Well, I mean, because you look back at it now, right, and it's kind of corny, but like, I mean, it's also amazing. It's like, it's comedy, it's action packed, it's fucking weird. The glow effect at the end, everything about it is just so 80s.
Well,
and another thing I
really
noticed
special.
is the music, right? The music is like also it was almost like a narrator. You know, I love the music. It's like, you are the last dragon, right?
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah, classic montage. So do you want to say who do we have on today's show, Baby Bon?
Yes, today we have a special guest. I mean, the main star himself, Mr. Taimak, is on the show today.
Let's bring him on.
Bruce Leroy. So, what was your path to land this iconic role as Leroy? Like, how did you get started with, martial arts and acting? I know this is probably a question you've answered a lot, but we always love passing the knowledge base on of motivation, the drive, and just would love to learn how you got this role and what, your history as well, just with entertainment.
Yeah, sure. The thing that's interesting is that the linear way of going about things, right? You go to acting classes and all this type of thing, and then you get an agent. That's the linear way. I was the opposite. It was just a dream I had since I was very young. Came from a really, really tough environment, and I craved and sought out. How can I get free? How can I get this freedom? And as like most young kids, I followed superheroes. That was kind of my freedom. I wanted to. It started with comic books, very, very young age of maybe 7 years old. Collecting so many that they had to throw them out. They filled up. I took all the clothes out of my dressers and put comic books. All those comics are probably worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I know, right?
I had to throw them all the way. They were all gone. Everything from Richie Rich to Spider-Man to Batman and so forth, and all of them. Then, very tortured. There was physical abuse. So, as a kid, you learn how to deal with life, right? That's the thing. So many people have gone through traumas and stuff, and they're able to survive and get through it. And kids have an amazing ability to survive the most hard of things. So I kind of sought after these superheroes. I'm going about it this way because it's very rare to have someone just come off the street to star in a major motion picture. I can't say, I was studying acting, because I wasn't. But I was born the year of the dragon. So
Nice.
there was something in the destiny, right? So what happened was I ended up, my father was bullied when he was a young guy, so he wanted me and my brother to get martial arts. So he started with that very young with us, with his best friend who was a martial arts expert and competitor and all that stuff. And then eventually I ended up staying with it, but it was kind of in out, because it was we were traveling. I was going to Europe. We lived in Italy, London as children. When I was about 13, 14, I ended up in Aikido and then Taekwondo and started getting involved with competitions and competing in Taekwondo and then competing in karate and kickboxing and all these things. That was me playing out the role of a superhero, and then also growing up around a lot of tough kids. So, New York City streets, and you want to be able to protect yourself because it was a different kind of environment back then. And then you start to feel this sense of pride and machismo and but it was all like driven by the environment, it wasn't really who I was. That is the way I'd like to say that I was chosen for the role, because there was a side of me that was streetwise and all that, but there was another side of me like Bruce Leroy.
Yeah.
It's like everybody walks through life playing a role, right? But then all of a sudden, there's this other role that's more vulnerable, more soft, more, So it just happened to be that, the casting and Gordy and Michael Schultz and, the writer, Louis Vinosa, all these people involved with this film saw me as the guy,
And it's amazing too, because you said you were kind of born for this role. Like you already had all this martial arts background. You were you have 7 different types of martial arts, right? Like, so what was your feeling reading the script for the first time, and did you know how big of a movie you were entering? Because it just has such a cult. Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it. It's just like right now, right? They say, we're looking for a superhero character, and his name is Zatar, and it's going to be a Marvel movie. Everybody is like, so that's back then. That's how this was thrown out. But there was no internet, so it wasn't through the internet. It wasn't through the internet. It was through word of mouth, like martial arts competition. Actors knew about it. It kind of spread just through word of mouth. Again, there's no internet, so it doesn't spread online. That kind of environment didn't have these kind of superheroes, at least of color, and that it went all over the place. But I'd have to say that I think it was more that it revealed that side of me that I didn't quite know about as much as other people could see that in me. I was being this macho, martial arts, kickboxing champion. Meanwhile, I was a softie.
It is incredible, though. And, we both grew up in Brooklyn. So the film really hits home. Like you were saying, the tough streets, New York's in your bones, you feel that. And the family vibe, and you driving that home and bringing that into the audition and the role with that kind of backstory.
And we're obsessed
too,
with Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee, man. Like we're obsessed, diehard fans of those guys
as well.
So,
which I feel the film has also an homage to, which is great, and I love that vibe that it taps into that, and really also brings in the respect in which you probably didn't really see much in American films. Of course, in action films, but in this one, it really is a true connection and awesome, Yeah,
well, Gordy was trying to go opposite of what was out there, people of color, let's say black man, right? I'm considered the black man because of the color of my skin, but I'm interracial. My father was from Benevento, Italy. My mother was from Harlem. So, but the idea of playing a black character was normally this character I was telling you about, strong, macho, curses and shoot somebody that messes with them, and there's no vulnerability, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of black John Waynes to a certain degree.
Yeah, and I think I heard somewhere it was only one film right before Last Dragon that had someone, right, like a African American lead.
There's only one that was really put out there. He was the first person to get a deal with Warner Brothers, and but there were Hong Kong movies with like Ron Van Cleef, but that was like very niche. You didn't know about these guys because these martial arts films were not in the theaters, they were mostly only in Chinatown in New York. You know, it wasn't like you got to remember. We have to acknowledge that there was no internet.
Right, it's
It's a whole
copies, right?
Now I can.
VHS.
Now you'll find out if someone was scratching their head in Zimbabwe. You know, back then.
Yeah.
You know, back then you'd never know. You know, so anyway, it was very niche that you saw some characters of color, not only in these kind of roles in the movie theater, but even further, martial arts heroes, you would never see them except for Jim Kelly, which you saw in Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, I know for Brian and I growing up, the show enough was highly quoted in our schools. Everyone's like, show no, you know, there were so many like iconic and memorable lines, right, Bonds? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
oh my God, dude.
Yeah, Louis Venosa wrote these characters and, you know, the things that came out their mouths. And Julius was a great actor, so he improv stuff too. But that was like, you know, yeah.
Yeah, and then like, what was it like working with Vanity? I mean, you had all these like the Motown, the very acclaimed artists.
It was like walking into a cartoon, like you know, like a comic book, like you know, like if you say, okay, I would love to walk into, let's say, Iron Man. I like, and all of a sudden you're playing one of the lead characters.
yeah, that must have been crazy for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is your love interest. Oh, here you go, Taimak. That's your love interest, and you're like, oh yeah. And that's the bad guy, and that's the other bad guy. And you say, yeah, you know. And, you know, I was a martial arts film enthusiast. Which was like an odd thing, you know, because it wasn't well known, these kind of kung fu movies. I kind of foresaw that it was going to be very successful. I just had no idea that it would become this classic for many, many years. I was only 19. So I just said, oh, wow, you know, this is my opportunity to just do a good job and, you know.
Yeah.
I love it. It really is also a big dance component.
I was going to say the musical dance is like, yeah, you see all the clubs and the disco and the color and the music's amazing.
The barges, they put the music video. It was the number one song at the time. Not to be corny about it, but it takes a team in front of the camera and behind the camera. And of course, Gordy had an idea of this, and then Michael Schultz put in his. Of course, the writer, Louis, you know, laid out the foundation for the story. And then it took everybody to bring it to life, you know, to bring all those elements, you know. There's a lot of elements. And then the comedy, you know, and then the message. It's a lot of stuff to pull together. But I think music and Motown, and I think that, and then the comedy, the writing, I think those two things were so important, you know, to create the levity in the film, because you're dealing with a message that's very deep, you know, kind of spiritual. Inside you is where it all is, you know, like the powers within. You got a very deep, you know, but then you put this humor on top of it and this fun and then diversity and race and all this stuff. It's easy to absorb through that lens.
Totally.
Yeah. It's a special film. It really does. I love the diversity and the different cultures in here, and the early stages of hip hop being born, capturing that into the Asian community. I mean, and also, you know, what really just fueled me up is like, you know, pricks like Eddie Arcadian. I've always wanted to mess him up.
That dude's
and I love even like Mike Starr, like the, you know, as the rock display, like the muscle. It's like he's the yeah, totally. But I really love how you just destroy them, and you know,
everyone's rooting for you, man. Everyone's rooting for you to like just kick his ass, you know, get shown up and like get the girl. It's like
they're so mean, those
good.
guys. They're so mean.
Those guys are so mean.
They're so bad, but they're good, right? Like showing up. And then you got the contrast between Eddie Arcadian and Mike Starr, and then Angelo Rocco. That's what I'm saying. The writing was brilliant. The writing was
really was. Is there any like stuff that like insider memories or things that like making it that you really loved, or you know, things that you remember were really fun to do?
Well, as a young man, I loved working with Vanity because we hit it off from the beginning, but then we started butting heads later during the movie. But it was like, you know, because she was a little older than me, she wanted the control, you know. But I
would be scared acting with her, man. She's a force.
But then there's Shonuff, who's like trying to start fights with me. Meanwhile, he can't really fight, so he's running away from me when But he, so there's all kinds of crazy things that were happening.
The kiss the shoes, man. That was intense for me, man. I was like, oh no, is he gonna do it? No.
Just to be, nonviolent.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
There was just, I think the main thing is everybody was so excited to be in it that everybody was worked hard, It's like everybody knew their lines. Everybody was just excited, It's like the 80s, and then, you think of discos, and everybody's excited to go to discos. They put their outfits on, and they want to have fun, So that's kind of, that was in the air, It's like Halloween, right? Everybody gets dressed up, and they want to show off on Halloween, and that's how everybody showed up.
Nice.
Yeah, and it really reads, right? It really cuts through, man. Like you could feel like the energy and the chemistry and the comedy as well. Like it's just all there. And then like rewatching it too, like the glow scenes, like for the 80s, I mean, it was probably like amazing knowing like where technology was at the time and everything. It's so fun.
Yeah, and you just think about it, it was a very simple story. There's nothing complex about it. But it dealt with some, things that were very deep,
Definitely.
Yeah. Do not. It's like in Into the Dragon. That was a drama. Action drama. This was action comedy. But it dealt with. Again, the way Lewis wrote it, they were on the surface. It was one thing, but there was subtext going on. It's like So I think that was so important to make it what it is today, because you can laugh at it and goof on it even, but then at some level you're saying, there's something about it, the glow, I want to survive. I want to find that deep power, like Superman, like Star Wars, like Darth Vader's. I want to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, especially within the community and different cultures and a city and the time area like New York. There's definitely some, like you're saying, subtext there that really resonate and have a really driving story of the family and you rising up to the top.
Yeah. The being the underdog, being treated a certain way, and everybody always feels like they got a foot on their neck, whether it be their boss, their husband, their wife, the government, whatever it might be. Everybody's got something that they go, man. And when they see the character like Bruce Leroy, who's being, trying to be a good kid, and everybody's just kicking his ass, and literally, figuratively, and so the audience says, "Come on, fight back," type of thing, Rocky type of thing, fight back, fight back,
The younger brother's great because I feel like he just gets on you. There's one part where he's yelling "coward, coward, coward" like over and over and over the scenes. So it's kind of like those little comedy beats that I've always thought were amazing too.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you can poke at the film about his campiness, but I think at the same time, it all wraps up in a great gift bag.
Teamwork.
Not just that I was the lead in it. It's just everybody that's seen it that loves it really has a special place in their heart, and there's a reason why. It finished with my younger brother starting to see something he never saw before. My character saw something he never saw before. The of course, shown enough, the story is yet to be complete. But even he has to learn. Everybody has to learn something. I think that's what was happening.
Yeah.
A lot of fans wanted The Last Dragon 2. Do you think it'll ever happen?
Well, that's true. It's interesting because you think about how young I was, and you think about what the hell was wrong with me. A lot of fans don't know anything about the business and how it works in Hollywood, and and they think, oh, the actor is the one. Well, I didn't own the rights, so I can't just, I didn't know anything about raising millions of dollars as a kid, and so I had to go on my own journey in life and learn about myself and all these things. And here we are years later, and the writer of the film, Lewis, he's actually been working on something for quite a few years, and he's got some rights of the film, and God willing, everything will work out and something will be done. Before, in the past, people have tried things, but it didn't come together. I think this is an opportunity that might work, and we'll see, as things get, put out, because he's a hardworking, he's an amazing writer, and people want it, right? So we'll see.
Yeah.
Totally,
Hell yeah.
totally.
Thank you for that little insider knowledge there. That's awesome.
It's true. I mean, and if he's already so, dialed into the DNA of it all, it makes sense. And you guys are, so that's really cool to know.
Yeah, not everybody's alive, right? Vanity, Julius Carey, the little brother. So there has to be other characters. There has to be something that connects, And he's written quite a number of different things that would be exciting, new characters, and we'll see. But I trust that he has a lot of experience. I mean, he wrote Bird on the Wire with Mel Gibson, so he's been out there. He's done a lot of where he's directed Grey's Anatomy, so he has a lot of experience, And he was he came from an entertainment family and the theater, and he was a dancer himself. He was a dancer, and he even danced in Fame. He had a little role in Fame, and you could see him dancing. But he knows the world. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, we hope that happens, man. Thank you for that. And is there any final questions, Bonds? I think I might have one.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you tell us what was in the tank that almost ate Eddie Arcadian? Dying to know. I think about it every night.
He must have picked that up. I think he picked that up from the Hudson River. It's like, you know what I mean?
Through a sludge of the Gowanus. Became the toxic avenger. Right?
Yes, exactly.
He spits out COVID on everybody. I don't know, man.
That's it. That's
exactly
what
the hell,
Yeah.
But you get close to it, you even get in that water, you may be stuck with some kind of disease the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's true, right?
Something disgusting,
It is a true superhero film, like you said, with so much knowledge and really a rhythmic one as well, with a beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah.
And thank you as...
It was amazing watching it again, man. We're like, oh my God, this is like bringing us back. It was like our top 5-10 movies that we love.
I know that people need to get out of their heads and have some fun and let loose. And then this film gives that vibe. It gives people are able to get that. And that's why a lot of fans tell me they watch it every year, they watch it a lot. Just to get... We had the pandemic. We got all this madness going on in the world, I mean, I had a spinal injury for many years from training and not paying attention. And but the thing is, it was meant to be, because I learned a lot of things. I was going too fast, working too hard on top of some other injuries, and then boom. And then I noticed my right hand was not functioning properly. Everything locked up in my hips, so I had to go down the rabbit hole and find a way out. So I'm improving quickly now, ironically, after almost 10 years.
Yeah, that's exciting to get back into the swing of things, and it's good to take care of those things.
And I'll be able to let people know how I'm doing it without surgery, and I'll be happy to once I'm complete, because there's so many people that don't know enough about spinal health and how to have the posture and the exercises and all those things. So I'll definitely I'm not just keeping it for myself. What I've learned, I'm gonna share with a lot of people.
Nice. Is there I guess one final thought? Is there anything that you want to promote that you're working on? And we'll make sure to link it in the.
My relationship with Louis Venosa is tight, and I'll be posting whatever we come up with in the upcoming weeks and months. Progress on what I expressed to you. I was actually cast in a black thriller called Double Cross. It's in the Amazon Prime. And it comes out in January,
nice.
All Black Network. And I can't actually say the character is so different. But
nice.
I think it has to do with sex trafficking vigilantes.
Oh shit! I love vigilante. I love a good vigilante. Everything we cover is vigilantes.
I can't say leans towards the reality documentary. It is kind of a Hollywood version of, because it's hard to absorb those very nasty, ugly things.
Mm-hmm.
But the character I'm playing, it comes out. You just look out for Double Cross and
okay.
Top of the year. It's a reoccurring role. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Taimak.
Yeah.
One thing that Brian and I also latched onto, there's a few things about this movie. The younger brother, Leroy's brother, there's one scene where he yells, "Reloy."
Yeah.
Really loud. And when we watched this right in your mom's apartment, your dad's apartment, your old apartment, pre-kids.
It's
like,
still over there.
It's still there. But we were like, oh my God, is this a mistake? Or we're like, no, it has to be for comedy. Just because of like the brother's character. I don't know why. We always thought that was really funny.
Reloy. Richie Green.
Yeah, that's his name, right? Oh my God, I love that little brother.
Leo O'Brien.
And let's talk about the guy who plays Eddie Arcadian for a second.
Yes. Christopher Murney.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love his vibe. He's like balding. He's like, I'm a little prick. Like, who would ever like be threatened by a guy who looks like that,
Yeah. And he thinks like, he thinks he can get the video star, right? He thinks he can obtain vanity and like force her to do everything. But also what's interesting to me is that
he's still alive. He's 79.
Who did you latch on to, Brian, when you first watched this?
Yes, that's a great question. So there's a character who's adorable. He's this like young Asian kid who like looks up to him that does like these sick moves.
Oh yeah.
And he's the kid I always was just like, oh man, that kid is so cool.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Like I think at the end he actually does like a dance move, but also beats someone up at the same time. It's like,
yo, let's talk about that scene real quick. At the very end when he fights Shonuff, right? Dude, this is another thing that's amazing. It's like a 15-minute fight sequence?
Yeah.
It's fucking unreal. I don't know. It just keeps going and going, and it's just like
they went there.
Yeah, it really went there. And also like the choreography behind that. They must have spent just days and days on that one. But it's funny because you're really rooting for him, and he finally, finally kicks some arse.
He gets right in there and just does the kung fu shit. He gets right in there, man. Like, I mean, I don't know how to work my body like that. And movies movies like this. Oh man, we watched this movie so many times.
Yeah.
And I love the dad pops in it and the pizzeria.
It's great when he's like, well, I am Leroy, and then he's like, Junior. He's like, you're looking for Junior. That's really good. I was gonna say, there's so many, and also like the costume design of fucking Shonuff, dude, with his shoulder pads, and it's just so great.
I think that later influenced those Busta Rhymes videos,
right?
Yeah. Keep an eye out for what Taimak is going to be coming out with in the coming time. And
who knows?
Fellow New Yorker too.
Yeah, fellow New Yorker. I mean, it might be a Last Dragon 2. It might be something. He's it was very cryptic but beautiful how he ended that. So people look out for him. Follow him on social media, and keep an eye out for the next episode. Thank you guys so much, and a big shout out to Ruben Dax for mixing this, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thanks for all your support, and
thank you.
Special love to our friend Laura Charles.
Hi, Vanity. We love you.
Bobo Touch.